You know, if you're privileged enough to trap in the United States of America, there's a good chance you're going to run into a bobcat. So many states out there are starting to open up bobcat seasons because the population is going insane. Mississippi is no exception. This week, we're headed to the Magnolia State, and we're chasing those feisty bobcats. This is trapping time.
Well, look who I got out of bed this morning to go check traps.
Right where I caught my first coyote. Welcome to Trap 101. It just never gets old seeing those dogs bouncing.
This is my story. This is my time. This is Trapping Time. Trapping Time is brought to you by Trapping Girl Incorporated, Night Owl Lures, Old South Lures, Southern Snares and Spot, SMOKEY'S Deer Lure, Webster's Predator Control, Duke Traps, Wolf Creek Products, Sawmill Creek Baits and Lures.
Okay, we're down here in Mississippi. Set up some traps on a farm that we come down here every year to do some predator control on. And what we got here, we're right up against a pretty good sized stream or small river here. And we have this bottom that comes up against this CRP and hayfield. Well, I set a couple traps here the other day, and we actually had a coon here in this trap yesterday. And we remade that set, and today we connected on a nice looking Mississippi bobcat. It's pretty good size for a cat down here in Mississippi. Looks like he's got some good spots on him. Landowner will be really happy. They're trying to get their turkey population back up here on this property. So we'll get him out of here and get this remade and show you what we did to be able to connect on this. Okay, we got the cat out of the set here. We're going to go ahead and get this set remade back in. We'll go ahead and check everything out. Make sure you get all the grass back off your swivels. Make sure that nothing's damaged and everything's still turning good. Dog's in good shape. Pan still's good. We get this set up here and put back in. One of the main reasons we picked this location is we're right here in this river bottom, and right here behind us there's actually a pretty good heavy game trail that goes back into the river, and I'd found some cat tracks back there in the sandbars. So we got our spot here. Our bed's pretty much still intact. Want to make a place in the bottom of that trap bed for that D-ring and all that chain to lay down in there. Just kind of tap that down in with the hammer some. Get that trap wedged down in there. You don't want it to move. I mean, you want it solid. If you finger test it, tap around on it, make sure everything's good and solid. One of the great things about trapping down here, as opposed to back in Pennsylvania, you don't have to worry about stuff freezing down. Back home, a set like this would kind of make me a little paranoid that it would end up freezing in on us, but today it's 71 degrees, so our holes right here, I found it. We just had a little driver hole poked down there and wallered out, and there was a pretty good tuft of grass right here. What we're going to do is kind of gather up all this duff, and this whole set smells so much like a cat right now. One of the beautiful things about it, when you get a set like this, and there's been, especially with a bobcat in it, and that was a big male cat, that odor's so strong in here right now. Anything coming up down through here is going to have to stop and investigate it. So, kind of get that piled back around behind it here. Just kind of give him a little more of a focal point, a little more of a guiding. Got our trap bedded in. Take our peat moss and cover it up. We're using this more as a pan cover in this situation than we are for freezing, just so that we don't end up with sticks or this clay down here up underneath the pan on us. Kind of fill that in, and we're going to level all that back off. Don't want it thick, just enough to cover everything up good. And then we'll try to take some of this real light duff. You want to make sure you don't get big sticks, big clods of dried mud or anything in it. We're just going to kind of try to blend this back in just a little bit. I mean, this whole ground's tore up so much that nothing's really going to stand out, but we're just going to kind of make it look like the rest of the area. Like I said, you want to make sure you don't get any of those big clods in there. Kind of dress this up just a little bit. Kind of fluff this duff all over the place so there's not a particular sweet spot that's standing out on us. And then I saw somewhere we actually have a fresh cat dropping right there. We're going to lay this up here off to the side of our hole as a little extra attractant. Make sure our hole's still good and wallered out. Like to try to get that bait down in that hole 6 to 8 inches. Make something if they come in and have to work for it. All right, we're going to bait it back up with what we had in there before. Was our Predator Bait 303. Just put a good marble size piece down in there. You don't have to put a lot in there. We're not trying to raise them out. We just want enough that they think there's something to eat down in there and make them work for it. Make sure we keep all the big stuff off. Gonna put a little bit of cat attack lure back on it. Not going to worry about a gland lure or any urine, just because, like I was saying, there's so much cat scent here now. It's better than anything you can get in a bottle. Just put just a little pea-sized piece of that up at the lip of that hole. Like I said, just kind of blend it in, fluff it around. Be real careful you don't get anything on the trap that's going to impede it when it does go off. Anything you cover it up with, you want it to be light and fluffy. So, and that's pretty much the remake on our cat set. We'll get on down the road here and see if we can't put some more in the truck, but beautiful Mississippi cat. This is why we come down here. Our cat's in PA, shaped a little different, but our laws are a whole lot different. With us allowed one, down here we're allowed to take more than one. So, all right, we'll get on down the road and see what awaits.
From the hills of West Virginia, Smokey's Deer Lures presents the first and only real pre-orbital gland lure in the world. Applying pre-orbital gland lure to a licking branch will allow you to take a complete inventory of the bucks at your favorite hunting spot. Get yours at SMOKEY'sDeerLure.com.
Well, you see, trappers are a special breed of people. We're dedicated, committed, and passionate about what we do and who we are. Each and every one of us has an intense desire to be the very best we can. So in the world of skinny jeans, man buns, and pumpkin spice lattes, sometimes you just have to stop, push back, and tell the world, that's not me. Whether you're from the far north or in the deep south and anywhere in between, Southern Snares can help you succeed at getting the job done and being who you are.
We're down here in Mississippi still checking our traps. Once again, we're checking Justin Rogers' traps here. He's connected on a pretty nice Mississippi bobcat. What we got here is we're trapping on this hunt club property. They actually have this all timbered out in behind us and all this cut over. And there's a 2-track that comes right along this hardwoods pine thicket. It goes all the way out through this property, and we have this 2-track road right here. So all that game is naturally funneled right along this edge down through here. And it looks like he's got a Duke 175 set there and connected on this cat. We're going to go ahead and get this cat out of here and show you the remake on this and kind of how he had it constructed. He's got a little tore up, so we may have to modify it a little bit. Okay, we got the cat out of the set here. We're going to go ahead and put this remake back in. I already got the trap bedded. Had to do a little modifying on the trap bed just because of that wet sand packed so tight, and he kind of had it walled out with our earth anchor. Trap's in it. The hole that he had's right here. We're going to go ahead and get the trap the rest of the way bedded in. One thing about a cat remake, you can smell the cat here. We always kind of joke if you had smell-o-vision what it would smell like right here. So it's not going to need to put so much of a gland lure back in, but I do believe he had the matrix lure out on this because breeding season right now. Get our peat moss back on there we're using for a pan cover. I mean, we're definitely not worried about it freezing down here in Mississippi, but also don't want this sand with the rains that are coming and everything to wash that sand and pack up underneath that set. We're just going to kind of take a little bit of this, about the best we can do with the weather conditions and as wet as the ground is, and just kind of blend it in so it doesn't have that dark spot stand out. You just kind of want to do the whole area so you don't have just that sweet spot with that more of a fluffed up looking ground. Make sure we don't have any sticks inside the trap area. Man, now all these sticks that are laying around here, that cat's been chewing on them, rubbing on them. They have that scent. We're going to put some of those in behind here a little more. Going to kind of turn them so they don't get knocked down or roll down on the trap. But the thing with a bobcat, you can fence a bobcat in a lot more than a coyote. They don't have fear. Not so much worried about human scent. It's not why I'm wearing the gloves. I'm wearing them just more to protect my hands from the dirt and the grime. I'm going to put back in here what Justin was using before, which is the Trapping Time Bobcat Matrix lure. Put a little bit of this and just kind of smear it up here on this log on the outside. I'm going to use some of his Rodent's Revenge bait. Don't need a great big piece, just enough to get their attention. Something about like that. We'll stick that down the hole. Make sure we get it worked down in there so if they do come up, they've actually got to work for the bait. They can't just run up, grab it, and steal and get out. The longer you can keep them there and keep their feet moving around, the better chance you have to connect on them. We're just going to kind of fluff this up. You want to make it kind of look natural around there. I mean, it's tore up as it is now, but just make sure there's no sticks or anything over top of your catch or over top of your pan area. Just kind of pile some of these sticks up around here and give them a little bit of a guiding. And that's a remake on our bobcat set.
We just can't keep these bobcats out of our trap. When we come back, we're coming back to the Trapping Time Set of the Week.
Duke Traps has the most complete product line of game traps in the world. Check out the full line of body grippers for beaver, raccoon, muskrat, and more. Duke has homeowners covered as well with a full line of standard and heavy-duty live cage traps. Duke has over 30 models of animal control devices that can help you with your trapping needs. Duke now offers the number 550 and larger 650 coil springs, plus their newly developed number 2 dogless for catching coyotes. Get more information at DukeTraps.com. Duke, America's best trap value.
Hey folks, be sure to check out our all-star lineup for the upcoming season. New for 2018 is the hard-hitting Blackout Predator bait. If you're looking for a beaver-based bait with some kick, this is it. We're also proud to add to the batting order our line of mouse-based baits. If you're looking for a mice bait so pure it's practically eating cheese in the container, then you will want to try Peyton's Pretty Mouse. Maybe you're looking for a bait with some long-range appeal for those cold winter nights, then you've got to try Peyton's Dirty Mouse. When you're serious about trapping predators like we are, then be sure to make your next purchase at TrappingTimeTV.com.
We're here in Mississippi, and I put a little dirt hole here. I was using some capital punishment. Now, I blended it in really, really good. This is my first Mississippi cat. If you look down below me, I made another set down there. I got a coyote in here. Last year, Justin and I actually doubled on a coyote right over here. What you want to focus on is these pinch points like this. This field is so overgrown. Last year, they brush hogged it. This year, they didn't. It's directing these animals really, really tight down through here. And I just figured when I come in here, they're going to be traveling these roadways. So if I concentrate on these little pinch points, it's going to funnel them right to our trap. Wind direction doesn't play as much of an important role because they're going to be within 8 to 10 feet of our lures. So we got a hind foot catch here, a good Mississippi cat here. He's not hooked real good. I ended up getting a back foot catch on him. We're going to take him. We're using a Duke 175. We're going to take and get this cat out of here. We're going to show you the remake. All right, we're here in Mississippi. We dispatched our cat. We're gonna get him out of here. Now we're gonna come back in this set. Now we used our cookie cutter to make our bed, so it's gonna be pretty easy on a remake. One thing nice about cats compared to a coyote, when you catch a coyote, it usually looks like a grenade went off. They're gonna dig all this mud up. Cats, they're built a little bit different. They're gonna scratch this grass, and you can see, because I caught him by the hind foot, we got a huge catch circle. This is gonna be some awesome eye appeal. And one other thing nice about cats is, this was my backing that I was using. And right here's my little dirt hole. This is still intact. So when these animals are coming down here working this road, they're gonna come up here. My backing's still there. I still got my attractant. Here's some Gland lure that I actually threw down there. Everything's still good. So all we got to concentrate on here basically is getting our trap rebed, maybe throw a little extra bait down in the hole, and away we go. I want my pan as level as I can get it. Now we're going to pop this bad boy right back in the same hole. Now if any of you guys have ever trapped Mississippi, they've got kind of a clay type soil. So when you set that trap down in there, it sets it really, really tight. We don't have to worry about this dirt on the outside freezing. We got a little bit of frost last night, but it's not enough to make the ground hard. We're gonna take our peat moss, put back over top of it. And if you look at this, a lot of times I would just leave this set exactly how it is. But we're gonna blend it back in just like it was. These little grass shears, go to your home supply store, you can find them. They're not real expensive, but they're so handy to have. Grab some of this fluff from around here. It's going to have all kinds of cat scent on it. And I've usually found if I catch a bobcat and he's had a chance to be in there for a while, there's a good chance I'm going to catch something else. Alright, so we've got her blended back in pretty decent. And we had capital punishment from Southern Snares in the hole. We're going to put a little bit more back in there. I don't mind putting bait back down in the hole after I make a catch. I usually don't put any Gland lure back on, especially now since I actually seen the stick that it was on. We're gonna put a little more bait down in there, try to get it at the bottom of the hole. And this is the finished remake. One cat down, perfect location to catch a cat. We've got all this thick brush around us. We got these nice grass travel ways. Guaranteed slam dunk cat set.
From the hills of West Virginia, Smokey's Deer Lures presents the first and only real pre-orbital gland lure in the world. Applying pre-orbital gland lure to a licking branch will allow you to take a complete inventory of the bucks at your favorite hunting spot. Get yours at SMOKEY'SDeerLure.com.
Well, you see, trappers are a special breed of people. We're dedicated, committed, and passionate about what we do and who we are. Each and every one of us has an intense desire to be the very best we can. So in the world of skinny jeans, man buns, and pumpkin spice lattes, sometimes you just have to stop, push back, and tell the world, that's not me. Whether you're from the far north or in the deep south, and anywhere in between, Southern Snares can help you succeed at getting the job done and being who you are.
Folks, if you use that tip right there, I guarantee you it's going to put more fur in your shed. Now, let's get back to the bobcat action.
Alright, we got us a bobcat here this morning. Where we set this trap is, actually yesterday, Robby caught a coyote over on this point and back around this point. And I stuck a trap here on this roadway that's running from these fields to fields. And this is kind of an outer point in this field. Everything coming down through here is going to hug this corner going around to follow these crop fields. So, but we sunk a Duke number 2 square jaw in here and baited it with a new test bait and lure that I'm working on from Webster's Predator Control. I think this is the second day this set's been here. Yesterday you could tell there was a little activity around the set, but didn't quite connect, and this morning we caught ourselves a nice Mississippi bobcat. But we're going to go ahead and dispatch this cat and get him out of here, and then we'll get this remade. We got 1 day left on our check here. We're actually headed back to Pennsylvania tomorrow, so hopefully maybe one more night, especially with a cat in a set in the remake with all that scent around. Kind of ups your chances of catching something in your remake here. Okay, we got the cat out of the set. We're going to go ahead and make this remake here. He doesn't actually have it tore up that bad, so I don't think he's been here all that long. We're checking these first thing in the morning. Find our trap bed here. Using that cookie cutter, you still have a good impression in the ground where your trap's set. Get that cleaned back out a little bit. Using these Duke number 2 square jaws, this is the first year I've used these, and I really like these traps. Gets a good catch on them, and the whole trap thing, everybody has their preferences, what they like. I like kind of preferably a square jaw trap. Trap bed solid right back in that bed like that. I usually set my trap with the dog facing the hole, just so the loose jaw's back further from our attractant. So if something does get to digging around, the trap's a little more solid on that side. Our little mouse dirt hole that we had punched in. So for backing, we'll just gather up some of this stuff, and there's so much cat scent here from him rolling around in it and going to the bathroom and urinating on it. We'll just pile some of this stuff up just to give kind of a subtle backing, enough to keep his focal point right on the front of it. Get that blended back in with the peat moss. What I'm going to do is just get a lot of this little fines off the ground where he's got this chewed up, just to try to blend it back in to take his focal point off of that fresh peat moss laying there, because we're basically got 24 hours left here, so make sure you don't have any big sticks in there. Kind of flatten everything back out. And yeah, dirt hole's still good. So we're going to put back in here some more of the bait that we were using. We have a Predator bait 202 that we started this year that we've been testing out a lot and stuff. Put another gob of that back down in the bottom of the hole. We're going to add a little bit of our Cat Plus. A little bit on the backing, just to give him a little scent focal point. And that's finished remake on our bobcat. We'll check it again tomorrow. And
you know, there's just something about bobcat trapping just gets me pumped up. You know, I still remember that first one I caught in Greene County, Pennsylvania, a long time ago. It was a snowy day, and everything worked perfect on that set, and I was able to put him in the truck. And ever since that day, the fire in me gets going every year, knowing I can chase those feisty felines. And it's something I'm never going to forget. And now that I have a chance to trap other states, it just makes me want to push even harder to catch them as many as I can. Be sure to join us next week. We're headed back on Coyote Line with Jen and Peyton, and we're going to see if they can put any more in the back of the side-by-side. You know, like we always say, we're keeping the tradition alive here at Trapping.